I'm so glad you guys were able to make it today to the live Google Meet. And first off, before we sign out from today's Google Meet, I want to know who has not applied to SWIC yet for the dual credit. And if you have applied, do you remember your username or password? Because I want this all taken care of before Miss Brittany comes to our class or gives me the email of, okay, now we're going to enroll into the class. Before we can enroll you in the class, we have to have the application process done. And I want to save you $500 if possible. So let's make sure we go through that application process. If you're curious, like, wait a second, when were we supposed to apply? Tuesday was whenever that information was out. If you haven't applied, go to classwork tab, go to Tuesday from this week, and you'll see the video on how to apply to SWIC. If you have questions, we can address them before you leave. I'm going to suggest for this chapter to make flashcards for symbols, because we're going to learn some new symbols this chapter dealing with common things that we've covered from 6th grade on. Taking the average of numbers or taking the average of data is what we're going to talk about tomorrow in the video, but you're going to see all these new symbols. So let's realize sigma will be coming out, and we've actually already seen that in the video yesterday, where you have to add up all the frequencies in that table. Anytime I see the word sigma, so I would put sigma on one side of a flashcard, and then on the back side of the flashcard, I would put the sum of. It's sort of like learning a foreign language. If you've ever, or if you've never learned a foreign language, what helps with learning vocabulary is putting the foreign word on one side and then putting the English translation on the back side to help you become more fluent. And the thing about math is, yeah, it is all Greek. And we're going to get to all those Greek letters, and they stand for things in our math formulas. So anytime I see a capital sigma, I need to think of the sum of. Anytime I see a lowercase n, I need to think of number of data in a sample. Anytime I see a lowercase f, it means the frequency. Anytime I see a lowercase x, it stands for the data entry. All right, so be on the lookout. Tomorrow there's going to be more, and if we can get ahead on this, also, you know what I need to put in here is, if you need flashcards, we can arrange a pickup here at the school. So if you don't have flashcards at home and you don't feel safe going or getting them, then, I just said if you don't feel safe getting them, and then I would say, hey, come to the school and pick them up. We do quarantine well here, making sure that everybody's sanitized and so on. But if you need flashcards, I will get you flashcards, take them down to the foyer, and have them with your name on it. So that way you walk in, you get it, and bye. Okay. Want to talk about skills checks that we're going to be doing throughout this remote learning. So here's the thing about using Google Forms in math. This is why I really like Khan Academy. Khan Academy helps streamline answers and give you immediate, correct feedback. When I use Google Forms, I'm going to call it a skills check. But the bad thing about Google Forms is, if I put $44 in for my answer, and you put $44 including the cents being 0, we know these are the same thing. But Google, if I don't put every single possible similar answer into Google, it's going to mark it wrong. So just be aware that if you notice when you get feedback on these skills checks, because I don't think in statistics we've had these yet, but they're coming. In Google Forms, if you notice, hey, wait a second, I got this wrong, but our answers are the same, just realize this is my way of giving you immediate feedback, and I'll go back through after the due date and manually change your grade. Skills checks are more like completion grades. So when we do Khan Academy, I want it for more accuracy and precise, like I want you to increase your knowledge to be 70% or higher. When we do skills checks, those are more completion. Let me see how you're doing. All right, I want to see you upload pictures of work. Like, I'm trying to think of one of the problems on there. Oh, produce a stem and leaf plot. Yeah, show me if you can do that. Or produce, so I want you to do it on paper, take a picture of it with your phone, and upload it. I don't know if we know how to do that, though. Have we done that? Stay on after I get done recording to figure out, hey, wait a second, I've already tried to upload a picture and it hasn't worked, and I'll figure it out. Stay tuned. Emails. I just sent out a whole bunch of emails about Khan Academy reminders, like so if you have been turning in assignments but they're not to the 70% accuracy, you're not getting participation points for those. I want these pieces, these assignments, to be 70% or higher for credit. The next participation credit goes into the grade book Friday. So I shouldn't say that. I think it goes into the grade book on Monday. If you're like, ooh, I wonder if I'm going to get full participation, do you know how to look up past assignments in Khan Academy? If not, again, write this down that, hey, I want to ask a question about past assignments, and we'll go through it when I'm done recording. Anytime you update a past assignment after the due date, you've got to notify me. I don't get an email from Khan Academy saying, hey, this person attempted it. And now that we're going through so many assignments and so many classes, I literally go through the grades that are due the day of, see what you're at, and then I move on. I don't go back to it unless you're going to notify me. So that's your job, is if you do a past assignment and get it up, tell me. That way your grade reflects your knowledge. Weekly newsletters, be on the lookout. I'm going to be sending these out every Friday. I have sent them out every Friday. Not sure if you've seen it, but I try to give you a look at what's coming up ahead. If you want to print those out, it's literally like one page, or if you want to save it as sort of like a guideline, if you're, you guys have jobs too. And if you want to know what should I be on the lookout for along the process, by the way, next week is a lot of Google Sheet activities, strictly Google Sheets. So we won't be using the textbook too much. I can't even think of why we would use the textbook next week, but we will need Google Sheets. All right. So I want to get into a live 2.1, 2.2 review because you have a work day today in Google Classroom. You have a problem similar to this one. It's just, I think it's different numbers. But either way, now let me get into how we would do a problem like this. No, not what I wanted. Hold on. All right. So let's say we have this, we're given the minimum, a maximum number, and we want to find the class width. And I'm going to tell you how many classes I want you to do. This is strictly out of your textbook, by the way. You got to find, so first find the range. When you get to this problem in the Google form, find the range. To find the range, you take the maximum minus the minimum. By the way, I assumed this was prior knowledge. And figure that out. By the way, I'm going to be using my calculator a lot. Please do this along with me and let me know if I make a mistake. Because I don't want this to, mess everybody up if I make a calculator error. After you find the range, you're going to take the number of classes and divide it, you're going to take the range divided by the number of classes that I ask you for. After you find that value, round up. So 15 is the class width. That's all we're going to do for this problem, because that's all I want you to do in Google Classroom. All right, next problem. Let's go through this table, find the class width, class midpoint, class boundary, and I believe in Google Classroom I ask you for strictly the lowest class midpoint and the lowest class boundary. So for class width, you need to go from lower, the lowest, how does it say it? The lower class limit to the next lower class limit. What is the distance between, so the distance between two lower class limits is the class width. So in this example, the class width is 10. Be careful on that, because a lot of people choose different numbers, but it's the distance between the lower class limits. Or similarly, the lower class upper limits, but don't mix. All right, lowest class midpoint. So lowest class midpoint, stick to the class of 0 to 9. Midpoint is the average of the lower and upper limit. So we're looking at 4.5 for the class midpoint. And then the lowest class boundary, the lowest limit is 0. So half a point down from that is negative 0.5. Questions on that before I move on? Okay, frequency distribution in an ogive. First, figure out how many classes we're going to have. It says do 6 classes. So we're going to find the range, the highest and the lowest. I think that 52 is the lowest, 73 is the highest, 52 is the lowest. Find the range. 21. Divide by 6 classes that I want. We're still looking at about 3 and some odd numbers. We still have 4 classes. Oh, so I guess I could have kept the same classes. So 52 to 56. Make sure I add these right. And then you go one less from the next lower class limit. So let's see. The next lower class limit would be 76. So I want 75 here. Or I could make sure, wait, 71 plus 4 is 75. Now, make sure we have 6 classes. Yay! We've got the 6 classes. All right, let's go through and figure out, if I want a cumulative frequency, I've got to figure out frequency. I'm going to use the lowercase letter f. Let's do some tallies here. And choom, 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 choom. Go ahead and do the sound effects at home. All right, 52 to 55. Help me count. Oh my gosh, it would be nice if I could use you guys. So hard to see. It's all right. 52 to 55. I'll just start highlighting numbers. I'm getting 3. $56 to $59. I'm getting a total of 3. 60 to 63. So 64 to 67. Got 4. 68 to 71. There's only 173. All right, so cumulative frequency. That's what we need for the ogive. We start with the very first frequency, and then you start adding on. So 3 and 3, 6. 6 and 9, 15. And then you keep adding on the next frequency until you get all the numbers in the data. We ended with 24, but is that actually how many values we have? So we have a 3 by 8 array, which does make 24 data values. All right. If I were to make an ogive, the cumulative frequency is going to be on my left. So I might do 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And then do the 6 classes. I would probably use their midpoints as each piece. But to start going faster, I'm just going to let you realize like this dash is for the first class, and the second class, third class, and so on. So creating the ogive, we should be increasing along the way. And you connect the points. What's nice about an ogive is you can see like between which two classes increased the most, and we can see between the second class and the third class we had a huge increase in data. So what was that? 60 to 63 is probably the biggest retirement age for doctors, is how we could conclude that many people retire at that age or above.